Hi. So when I requested Q&A questions, hi, I had a question that I felt like I wanted to expand on a little more than would be for a Q&A response video, and I felt I wanted to make a full video, just how to best utilize a therapy session. So hence here we are. Hi, garbage. Fucking whore. Nah, it'll calm down eventually. First thing, take the time to build your trust. I didn't talk about most things at first. It took me a long time, and even I was kind of abandoned by a lot of psychologists in the past. Some of them, one of them was crying to the psychiatrist, begging to be let off my case because she felt I was too complex. And so I think I saw her like 4 times, if that, maybe 3. And so that was a little bit scarring for not only her, but for me to hear that she was crying to the psychiatrist to be let off my case. And I've never had therapy longer than I think the longest was 2 months, and it always sucked before. I never liked it. It was always like, how does that make you feel? And long silences. Like, I had to fill the silence with my crap and not let them actually having a conversation with me. So it was very one-sided. It was like very simple questions on their part that were repetitive, and I didn't like it. Now I actually like therapy, and I haven't been given up on, and I haven't been told that I'm too complex, and they didn't go crying to the psychiatrist. So I finally have someone that I can talk to. So it took me a while to build up my trust. I didn't talk about a lot of things, like really awful things, traumatizing things, legally poopy things that happened to me, that I was kind of just sitting on and festering on, and I didn't talk about them, but finally I do. So I guess one thing is take your time to build your trust. I mean, don't feel like you have to just right away talk about everything. Hi. Feel like if you build up into topics, so they can ask you how you are, you can get to know them, trust them, and then finally you can maybe open up this one little thing. And if ever you feel like, oh, they totally think this one thing about me, and I it's awful, well, maybe ask if that's what they feel. Say like, you think I'm doing it all for attention? And then close your eyes, and then they're like, open your eyes. I think it's worth it. Look at my face. So if you feel like they have some kind of terrifying opinion of you and you don't trust it, if you think maybe there's a topic that you want to breach, and you think that maybe they'll tell on you because it's some kind of topic that they can breach confidentiality, you can ask them a hypothetical question about the scenario and say, is this something that you would have to disclose? What is it that you would have to disclose that I tell, so make things clear so that you can trust them and feel comfortable talking to them? Because oftentimes, even if you were to say, God, I feel really like, if you have suicidal thoughts, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to act on them, and a therapist knows that you're not necessarily going to act on those thoughts. They can assess whether that's something that you really urge you to the point where you would really act on it and have a plan. So you can talk about feeling like, wow, I really just don't want to give up, without them necessarily having to disclose it. But find out from them, reassure yourself, so that you can trust them, and with time you can talk about deeper things. So one thing that I do is now that I've grown to a point where I can trust my therapist, I kind of make notes about things that I want to talk about. Like, wow, I haven't talked about this before. Something else we talked about in session. This came up and I didn't talk about it. I want to talk about this. I kind of make a point notes in my Keep notes from Google Keep. Yeah, well, Google Keep. This was a promo. So I make kind of bullet points and say, okay, this is one thing I want to talk about if we have time, or I want to make this the goal of the therapy session. This is something that I really have on my chest, I have to talk about. Even if it's like a small point that takes 2 minutes, I just want to clear this up, So that's one thing that I do is yeah, take notes and things that are really weighing on me that I want to talk about, so that I don't forget in session. Because sometimes even if I have like 2 or 3 things to talk about, I might talk about one and I get so invested in it that I get like emotional and forget. So it's good to have the note there. And I'm like, oh right, I was gonna talk about this. So then that can kind of make it easier, because in the moment, you know, you can forget things, and it's easier to kind of have a bullet list just in case. And list, I'm checking. Yeah, I'm doing DBT. So it comes with weekly journals. Not necessarily what you do. If you don't do DBT, I don't know what kind of. Sometimes therapy is, you know, no homework in between. You just kind of show up, and they're like, okay, what do you want to talk about? And that's really annoying, because, well, I don't like that kind of. I mean, it should be really more of a conversation. So, but with my DBT journal, we've kind of personalized it. We, as in myself and my therapist. I'm not going all DID on you guys this time. So I kind of personalize it. And so instead of talking about like, okay, so have you been thinking, or have you been having urges for drugs, or have you been urges from alcohol? Did you take drugs? Did you take alcohol? Well, like, we eliminated that from the list. I'm like, it's so rare I drink. It's so rare, and I hate getting drunk, and you know, it just didn't apply to me. So we took that off, and we kind of personalized it, and we made it so that it's like rating dissociation, like say rating on a scale of 1 to 5, how much I dissociated, and now we've kind of personalized it to where I can say, did I have a conversation internally with someone, and who did I have that conversation with? What did they say? We're talking about also a line for triggers. What triggered, maybe say, some kind of a PTSD reaction, or like if I start dissociating a lot, there's usually some kind of a trigger. So, like, what was the trigger? Was there something that made you start dissociating? Was there something that made you start having flashbacks? Was there something that made it so that one or the other alter came out? So we kind of personalized it that way. And I have also guilt on my, I think it was already on the journal, but we focus a lot on guilt, because I feel a lot of guilt for crap that really wasn't my fault. But let's just say I feel guilt all the goddamn time. And so that's a high list on what we check on every week. So it's very personalized to what I need. So if there's anything that you feel like you want to address more, you can bring that up. If you can, okay, I felt this way, but why did I feel this way? What triggered it? So, but your therapist really should be asking those questions. If they're just trying to let you fill the space, that's not useful. I hope that you have someone that has a real conversation with you and can say, hey, you felt this way. What triggered that? Why did you feel that way? Do you think that that's, you know, check the facts. Is that really according to the facts that you feel that way? If you're angry, are you angry about something that you should be angry about? Is it aligned with reality to be feeling the way that you feel? Like if you're feeling really, really guilty, did you do something wrong? And I'm like, well, I'm guilty. I'm guilty as charged. I can rarely outline why I'm guilty. I'm just guilty. So that was the outlining journaling point. So if you have issues with something your therapist has as a technique, like say you don't like that they don't ask you enough, that they asked you the same question all the goddamn time. If they said something you feel a little bit off about, maybe you can bring it up, because it's just not going to be fixed by not saying anything about it. And if you feel a certain way, and then they're like, well, this is something that we can kind of work on together for the therapeutic relationship, then that's positive, and maybe it's a little bit scary to bring it up, but it can be worth it if they can make some kind of change or moderation. It's not even English. Modération. Modification. So that's positive. If that can be done. So I also have writing things down. If you're anxious about a certain thing to say, like, this is really heavy topic and I'm really anxious to talk about it. So anxious in the sense of not eager, but like anxious in the sense of freaking out. Do I say this? Do I not say this? How do I say this when I come to the point where I need to say it? I can't say it. What if you write it all down? Like write your thoughts, write them in detail so that you're not stumbling over your words when you say it. And when you present it, you can either have them read it in the session or you can read it yourself aloud. It's a little bit easier to say verbally when you're reading it than when you're just saying it, because you're not worried about your words and because you're looking down at your paper, so you can kind of, we'll call it dissociating or kind of like displacing, or like you're not focused on them, you're working your page, and you can kind of, yeah, it's a lot easier to read it than to just say it. But if you feel like you want them to read it either aloud or in their head, that can work too. So yeah, if you feel like you have something to say and you can't say it, write it down. So those are my tips, and if I come up with any more, I might make another video as time goes on. If you guys have any ideas for yourselves that work for you that I haven't brought up, leave them in the comments and I'll give it a good old heart, upvote the shit out of that so everyone sees it. Take care, guys, and talk to you later.